Good morning, and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are back. I made a small mistake during warm-up today, and I'm going to repeat the mistake because it was awesome. The line in the script says we are back to multi-platform services, and I said we are back to multi-platinum services. So I prefer that. I'm Ilya Kowalchuk, and I'm joined today by Service Associate David Vimay. Tad Koriath and Wendy Nelson will be providing music, and our tech team today is Mary Stackpole, Karen Griglak, and Deborah Mensch. Their behind-the-scenes support helps us all be together. First, a technical announcement. Please do not connect to Zoom on your devices if you're here in the building, unless you're helping with AV. Doing so may cause feedback and create other technical issues. And of course, I'm joined by you all here, the ones who make this a beloved community. As I say these welcome words today, I invite those of you on Zoom to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so, and scroll through the scene so you can have an experience, so you can experience the beauty of this congregation. Those in person, good morning. Look around and wave to your neighbors. And smile. We can tell underneath your masks. All of you, you are all welcome here today. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes and sizes, abilities and challenges that come together in your uniqueness, you're welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living and the places you are from, you are welcome here. With all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you're welcome here today. No matter how long you're away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You're invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. We acknowledge that the land surrounding us is the stolen territory of the Arapaho people, and many tribes roamed freely on this land for millennia before the arrival of white settlers. We commit ourselves to being a center for spiritual exploration and justice-making, and to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within and beyond our congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. We have many opportunities during the week for social connection and spiritual growth. Those on Zoom can check out the links in the chat to help you get further connected. Those in person can stop by the welcome table in our foyer to help you get connected as well. Finally, if any new visitors would like to introduce yourselves in the chat on Zoom, please do so. We'd love to know who is among us. And if there are any visitors in the sanctuary today who'd like to introduce yourselves by telling us your name and where you live, David will walk around and provide the microphone for you so that you can do so.
Good morning. I'm Chartrina White, and I am the Executive Director of Love and Arms Animal Sanctuary, which taking the offering today, so thank you. We embody the seventh principle, ahimsa, nonviolence towards all living beings, and I'm very excited to be here today.
Good morning and welcome, Chartrina. We're glad you're here. Is there anybody else who'd like to introduce themselves? Thank you. You're all welcome here. We have a couple vocabulary terms that we use. Roomies are the ones who are here in the room with us. We have Hollies, if there are any in the sanctuary hall. And we have Zoomies, so you might be hearing those words throughout the service. Roomies, you're welcome to come stay and chat. Please be mindful of physical distancing. And today we're not going to have a coffee hour, unfortunately, because of the potential rain and cold weather. I'm sorry about that. I know that connection time is really important, and maybe more important than coffee. It's hard to tell. At this point, we'll light our chalice. If you have a chalice at home, please light it with me, as David is going to light our fellowship chalice. So we all know where the chalices are. Please write in the chat, chalice lit, with your location, if you're in Zoom. Please say the words along with me as I light our chalice. I'll go slowly so you can follow along. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I'll sing our bowl again, inviting it to draw you deeper into the present moment and this, our beloved community. There is so much going on in the world right now. So much more than before. That it can seem a difficult burden to bear. For today, David and I have intentionally changed the order of service. It is our intention and hope that we can create a space within the service that is free from burden and difficulty. We invite you to set aside the burdens that you carry as you're willing and able, and join us in a celebration of the beauty to be found here on earth. Let's visit, remember, cherish, and celebrate sacred spaces near and far here on earth. For today, the joys and concerns and the offering will bookend our reflections and a guided meditation to intentionally build a sacred space in the middle of the service. So to that end, we're going to start with our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to share a joy or concern, please type it into the chat window, sending it to everyone, and let us know briefly what's in your heart today. I'll read out what you share, and David will add a stone to our sacred waters on your behalf. If you're in the sanctuary today, you can come up front to the right side of the table, share your joy or concern using the microphone, and add a stone to the waters. Or if you would like, you can add a stone in silence. If you're in the fellowship hall and have something to share, you may come into the sanctuary and share it using the microphone. If you need assistance, please see a greeter. Wherever you are, please tell us your name and where you live and when you share. I'd like to ask David to add some more stones. First off, for all those suffering from the war in my ancestral homeland of Ukraine, for those working for the peace and safety in Europe, in Eastern Europe and beyond, and also the victims of the recent tornadoes in the southern United States. And finally, one last stone for all the joys and concerns that remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. Beloveds, we gather here today in one of our sacred spaces to celebrate the return of one of our members, to recognize sadness and loss and fear of illness. Let us share these burdens together. Let us celebrate together. Let us see one another. Thank you. I'm going to do something I've never done before, so bear with me here. I'm going to venture away from the podium and read my opening words. It just feels more natural. So thank you. In the summer of 2000, I was invited to join my girlfriend's family for a week of fly fishing at a secret ranch in Montana. This was a really big deal. We had been dating for 2 years, and this invitation signified that her parents actually liked me. Now, I grew up fishing, but I grew up fishing in the ocean for real fish. And I would never do anything as goofy as stand in a river and wave a noodly stick. Nevertheless, I accepted the invitation because it seemed like a pretty special place, and really I just wanted to impress them. After an anxiety-laden 10-hour drive from our home in Boulder, my girlfriend and I bumped along the dusty dirt 2-track road to the ranch. The mountains were massive, jagged creatures that plummeted down towards the river. The river seemed to be the gravitational center of this space. It glittered in the afternoon light, filled with bends and riffles, with braided sections, and deep pools for all of those fish that I had heard about, those big fish. After dinner, we geared up and headed down towards the river. And I noticed that this first session imbued a thrumming excitement into the family. And this excitement did not help my pre-existing anxiety. I did not want to look like an idiot. But as we walked down to the river, I noticed the scent of cottonwood and pine and spruce, which brought a familiar, comforting sense to me. My girlfriend's father led me down to a part of the river that he thought would be good for a beginner. A lifelong fly fisherman, he glided from the bank into the river without hesitation. And for some reason, this struck me as a profound moment. I was shocked. I remember standing there dumbfounded. Simply walking into the river was, to me, an unexplored threshold, a jump into the void, if you will. Closing my mouth, I followed and noticed for the first time the tug of a mountain stream, gentle cold, and persistent against my ankles. He said some things to me and pointed at some things and gave me some flies and just left me there, feeling quite like an idiot. I don't know what his intentions were in just leaving me there. Maybe he wanted to be left alone to just enjoy fishing by himself. Maybe he knew that this first fishing session of mine was going to be spectacularly ugly and not to be witnessed. But I like to believe that he knew that truly falling in love with something can only be done alone, out there. I stood in that river and I waved that damn stick for hours. And I caught everything. I caught the willows behind me. I caught the willows in front of me. I caught logs. I caught rocks. How do you catch a rock with a hook the size of an eyelash? I don't know, but I did it. I even got my line tangled in the water. Yet, amidst the cursing and swearing and frustration, I started to notice some of the magic of this place. The beaver crawling along the opposite bank, eyeing me suspiciously. The light that glinted off of the water, creating a mosaic of colors. And the continuous melodic riffle as the water emptied out into the quiet pools. The sun had set and it was starting to get dark, yet there was no sign of anyone coming to rescue me from this nonsense. To make matters worse, what seemed like thousands of fish were now feeding on the surface all around me, and none of them were interested in what I had brought to the buffet. So I kept waving the stick, alone in the near dark, unable to pretty much see my fly any longer on the surface of the water. And then all of a sudden, I heard a splash, kind of near where I thought my fly would be. It was almost like I was fishing by braille. I set the hook, and wouldn't you know it, on the end of my line was a fish. Angry beyond measure, she rocketed out of the stream, twisting and flipping in the air in a visual poem. Miraculously, I was able to reel her in. I gently removed the fly and caressed her against the length of my arm. And then, completely unexpectedly, I found myself weeping openly at the beauty of all of this. I felt her wild heart thrumming against my arm. And a moment later, she thrashed and was gone into the depths of the river. All alone out there, I fell in love with the beauty of it all. This has become a yearly pilgrimage, but profoundly more than a fishing trip. It's a reconvening of my soul's connection to the earth, a shedding of the miles separating me from this place, followed by an intimate reunion of my life to space and energy as my feet glide along the gravel of the river bottom. The tug of this stream against my ankles, my body and soul is grounding. These few miles of mountain stream are one of my most sacred spaces. Whenever I need it, I close my eyes and find myself standing there, the water pulling my worries away, down my ankles, out my toes, leaving me there, alone, with the beauty of it all. Our musical reflection is going to be gathered here in the mystery of it at this hour. We chose this song because here we are gathered in one of our sacred spaces. Let us sing together, feeling the power and spirit of our sacred earth. It's number 389.
If you're able, please rise in body or in spirit. Again, this is Gathered Here, 389 in your gray hymnal. You might find it tucked in the little shelf, the little rack underneath your chair. All right. We'll sing it all through together, and then we'll break the room into two halves. This half over here can follow Wendy, and this half over here will follow me, and we'll do this in a round, and we'll sing it till it feels good and sung. All right? How about we sing it, how about that's our pitch?
Okay.
All right. And gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. One more time. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near.
Gathered here in the mystery and the power.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw
Mystery of the hour.
gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near.
When our hunter-gatherer ancestors settled down to raise their own food between the 8th and 6th millennium before the Common Era, in an enormous area of southeastern Europe, sowing and reaping became the source of their survival and fertility. So, our ancient ancestors became very connected to the life process and the seasonal cycle. They knew the sacred was in the earth. And in the process, as UU Minister Forest Church has written, the divine took on a more personal face. She was Mother Earth, the source of fertility, a self-generating goddess, wielder of life, giver of death, and regeneratrix. Lithuanian-born archaeologist Maria Gimbutas says, quote, "She was the unity of all life in nature. Her power was in water and stone, in tomb and cave, in animals and birds, snakes and fish, hill, trees, and flowers. She was there for millennia. And she was always sacred because what our forefathers knew, what they understood, was sacred earth, living earth, which figures everywhere in European folklore to this day. Maria's lifelong passion for archaeology began early in life, as she conducted ethnographic expeditions as a teenager in the 1930s, walking the back roads of the ancient Lithuanian district of Dzūkija with her sweetheart Jurgis Gimbutas, collecting the ancient songs called dainos, work songs and songs of supplication, sung at home and in the field to help farmers through their workday and to make an appeal for a great harvest. Quote, "Here at this point I start to understand what is the ancient song and what the song was in the very beginning. You did everything singing, and your song was the earth. And woman working hard was happy because she had song with her. And her belief systems were connected with what she expressed in songs. These are people creating sacred space right where they live and work. Listen now to a song that has been passed down through ancient oral tradition for millennia. It is a song to Jorla, the queen of serpents, sung at the beginning of spring, asking her to be bountiful with her powers of regeneration. Why a snake? Because a snake sheds its skin, symbolizing renewal and regeneration.
Yoria, take the keys.
Yoria, unlock the earth.
Yoria, unlock the earth.
Yoria, let the grass out.
Yoria, let the grass out.
Yoria, the silken grass.
Yoria, the honeydew.
The grass shall be for the dear horses.
The dew for the dear calves.
Yoria, good evening.
Yoria, good evening.
I grew up in a devout Methodist family where it was assumed that a sky god creator and his male son were to be the object of worship. But I've spent 40 years as a potter in a challenging and rewarding relationship with clay of the earth and fire. As an artist, I'm a co-creator with spirit, and I have an intimate understanding of how creation of utilitarian pottery in the sacred space of the studio can generate devout feelings toward the holy in everyday life. I was taught to worship the Creator, but I participate in joyful celebration of the creation. My Neolithic European ancestors, living in what Maria Gimbutas named Old Europe, lived and worked and made art in matrilineal, agricultural, egalitarian, and peaceful regional cultures in southeastern Europe for thousands of years. Their aesthetic profoundly interwoven with their religious beliefs in goddess worship. Cultural practices which celebrate the earth and her powers of life's generation thrive in peacetime. Maria Gimbutas. Quote, "We can clearly make a statement. Old Europe is a peaceful culture without weapons. In the whole archaeological record, starting from Paleolithic times, from the cave art, there are no scenes of people fighting each other. No groups of people fighting each other. Can you imagine?"
David spoke about sacred spaces. Sacred spaces where people have lived for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. I spoke about a sacred space that was a pilgrimage, that is a pilgrimage. I invite you along on a guided meditation to visualize, experience, and celebrate one of your most sacred spaces. Please ensure that you're in a comfortable seated position. Close your eyes when you're comfortable. Relax your shoulders and jaw. Get your spine in a comfortable position. And your hands where they feel comfortable. Now let's take a deep breath together. In through the nose. And make some noise as you exhale. Check in with your body. Feel the sensations of your bottom against your chair, where the pressure of gravity connects you to the earth, grounds you to space and time. With both feet firmly on the ground, let's relax our body. As you breathe in and out, work to release tension in your head, face, and jaw. Release your neck, the front and back of your shoulders. Relax the joints where your arms hang, down to your elbows, relaxing your wrists and fingers. Exhale deeply as you relax your chest, lungs, and abdomen. Notice and let go of any tension in your hips, rocking them comfortably. Finally, breathe deeply and let tension from your upper legs, knees, lower legs, ankles, and feet flow out of your toes. During today's service, David and I have spoken about sacred spaces here on earth. These words may have given you the opportunity to consider some of your sacred spaces. At this point, I invite you to consider one location that is most sacred to you. This may be indoors or out. It may be ethereal, a state of being. You may be moving or still. You may be alone, with loved ones, or surrounded by strangers. You may find your mind flitting between a few special places. For now, settle your mind's eye on one and start to look around at this sacred space. Take in the setting. What do you notice? What colors and shapes stand out? What time of day is it? What kind of light exists? Is it intense? Does it have a particular color? As you look around, do you notice many little things about your place? Do you see the bigger picture? Now, pay special attention to the sounds around you. What do you hear in your sacred space at first? Listen deeper. What lies below the initial noises? Consider the textures of this space, how they press or move against your body. How does your body react to the physical touch you experience in this sacred space? Wafting into your nose are the wonderful, distinctive odors of this place. Inhale deeply, holding them in your mind. Exhale and cherish these special aromas. Are there any tastes that connect you to this beautiful place? A special meal, items you only come across here at this particular location? Savor their memory. Now, move beyond the physical sensations you experience here in your sacred place. Breathe in these sensations and let your mind's awareness venture inward to your emotions. Notice the feelings that emerge as you consider this most sacred space. Breathe in and out, noticing without judgment how you feel in this special location. Now, imagine roots forming at the base of your spine, traveling through the ground and all the layers of the earth as you become part of the earth at this most sacred space. Imagine an energetic connection, a giving and receiving between you and this spot here on earth. This connection feeds you, and you respond with loving gratitude. Imagine others in their sacred spaces, similarly rooted around, all around Mother Earth. Breathe in and out, recognizing that the energy you exhale feeds not only your sacred space, but our earth and all those intimately connected to it. Truly, we are part of a great interdependent web of all existence. Slowly call back the roots from the core of the earth. Send gratitude and goodbyes to your sacred space and come back into this room. Begin to move your body, and when ready, gently open your eyes. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful visualization as a way to celebrate and appreciate our earth. We'll now sing Spirit of Life, number 123 in the gray hymnal. We chose this hymn because it beautifully echoes the intention and journey of the previous meditation. How the earth's magnificence and spirit can both awaken and ignite the soul. Please join us as you are willing and able.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Moving
Each week we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and this community by giving half our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, the half plate is for Love and Arms Animal Sanctuary, nominated by Sherry Price. Love and Arms is a nonprofit animal sanctuary in Erie, Colorado, working to provide lifelong social, emotional, and cognitive care for rescued farm animals, and advocates for those who have not been rescued by sharing their residents' stories to inspire, educate, and empower our community to live in compassionate and sustainable ways. For Love and Arms Animal Sanctuary, ahimsa is a way of life. Respect for all living things and avoidance of violence toward others. Love and Arms currently shelters 117 rescued farmed animal residents, and our giving to this organization embodies our commitment to honoring our seventh principle of respecting the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. If you'd like to see one or two videos made by the folks from Love and Arms, you can find that link in the Zoom chat. Please give generously as the real and virtual plates pass, as you so often do, and as our musical reflection begins, we invite those of you that are online to write into the chat your answer to the following question. Those of you in the sanctuary or meeting hall, you're welcome to share with your neighbor, where is your sacred space? And what makes it sacred to you?
for the work of this fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice to this world, and to Love and Arms Animal Sanctuary, we dedicate our offerings. The announcements for today. Love and Arms, today's half-plate recipient, will have a table in the foyer. You can pick up a handout there and see videos of Love and Arms residents. As I mentioned, unfortunately, we won't be able to have a coffee hour today as well. Next week is Easter Sunday. Our choir will be singing again. As always, there will be seating in the sanctuary and the fellowship hall. The Easter Bunny will also be visiting, and we'll also be capping off our pledge drive with a special Easter appeal. We'll all have an opportunity to raise our monthly pledge by a few dollars or more, or offer a one-time gift so that we can close the gap between our current pledges and next year's expenses. We're offering our first path to membership in this new building on Saturday morning, April 23rd. This class is designed for folks who are interested in learning more about the fellowship. Joining is not a required part of this class, meaning you can come to the class and you don't have to become a member at the end. It's a nice taste tester. Those of you in the building can sign up at the welcome table in the foyer, and those on Zoom can sign up using the link pasted in the chat now. And finally, our adult education team is facilitating a book discussion of Defend Fear, Safety Without Policing, Prisons, and Punishment by Zach Norris. This will take place on April 11th, 18th, and 25th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. This is the UUA's common read for the year. Please sign up at the link posted in the chat or at the welcome table to find a link in the Connections, or at the welcome table, or also a link in Connections Weekly. It's now time for us to extinguish our chalice. Please say the words with me. We extinguish the chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Every spring, I drive around in my car and I notice things that I'm sure you all notice as well. The birds, the baby birds who have just learned how to fly. They seem to be alive in a way that is unique and beautiful. The tiny little calves jumping and running around in the fields, happy to be alive, thrilled to run back to their mothers to make sure they know where they are. The daffodils erupting through the ground, giving us and the bumblebees a beautiful bridge from the winter. Consequently, in my car, as I'm driving around, I play at full volume the fourth movement of Beethoven's symphony. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy. It's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to remember and celebrate the awakening that's taking place. This year, the awakening seems so much more profound than other years, so much more hopeful. Let's enjoy our closing hymn, Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee. Thank you. Amen and namaste.
This is number 29 in the gray hymnal, and we're going to go ahead and sing all three verses, and then I invite everyone to have a little dance party at the end. Yeah, yeah. Ready?